Tom Barnes, Chicago scene, and I am doing something virtual just because the event hasn't happened yet. So I thought I'd bring in the founder of Riot Fest himself. I'm here with Mike. How are you, Mike?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. I love Riot Fest. I think it's one of the best events in the city and the country as far as music is concerned. And I have you to thank for it. You've been doing it since 2005. I've been going to Riot Fest since then throughout the years. Yeah, like over the years, how it's changed, from a couple of venues here and there to bigger venues, and then now we were at Humboldt Park, now we're at Douglas Park, and you guys just launched, or you just dropped some of the big headliner acts for Riot Fest. Why don't you run through them real quick?
Yeah, so we have the three main headliners. We have My Chemical Romance, the Misfits, doing Walk Among Us on the 40th anniversary of it, and 9 Inch Nails. We have Alkaline Trio coming, Portugal The Man, Bleachers, Placebo, Descendants, Yellow Card, Bauhaus, which I'm really excited about, Sunny Day Real Estate, Yeah Yeahs, Ice Cube, Sleater Kinney, and 70 more. It's pretty loaded this year.
Yeah, it sounds like, what people might queue up on, either if they're a certain generation, an iPod shuffle, or even a curated Spotify playlist, or if you're kicking it old school, a CD changer in the car. Because you have a wide variety of bands, and I feel like that's what's the beauty of Riot Fest. I love that it happens here in Chicago. I love that you guys started it here in Chicago. How did it become, if people aren't familiar yet with Riot Fest and the experience of it and what you want to give to people, that separates you guys from all the other music festivals that happen nationwide and here in Chicago?
I think we had a trajectory that was a little bit different than most, because we started in the clubs, and the first year in 2005, it was 2 days at the Congress Theater. 1,900 people combined attendance, but slowly but surely it just grew, and it just grew organically, because it's not like we had a huge marketing budgets or anything along those lines. So it had this like slow growth, and it turned into Congress and Double Door, and Congress and Double Door, and Sub T, and then before our last year inside, which was 2011, I think we did like close to 38 shows over 5 days or something like that, and Metro, House of Blues, all the venues. But then we're kind of cannibalizing our audience a little bit, because it's hard to get to Congress and to Metro if you want to see bands at each venue, and they're going out at the same time. So it was just the time to take it outside, and ever since then we kind of haven't looked back. And it's been, every year's like something different comes up. It's been arduous, but at the same time, it's been great.
Yeah, and I've noticed just walking through the space, it's just like something you've never been to before. Like,
it's the most intimate 50,000 people. It really is.
Right.
Family in there. And like people say that kind of stuff all the time, but once you experience it, it resonates with you, and you want to come back.
Absolutely. You got that carnival vibe. And this, just go with me for a second on this, because this is what I felt like when I watched. There was an episode I don't know if you've seen Stranger Things, but in Stranger Things, they have an episode where at this carnival, this whole vibe in one of the seasons, season 2 or something. And I'm like, that's what it's like at Riot Fest, except for the monsters and stuff, but that nostalgia that when you walk in there, you just feel like if you're 42 years old, you don't feel like you're 42 when you walk in there. You feel like you're a kid, and you can share that experience with your kids.
Right. And what's great about it is that we're punk rock, and that's the spirit of who we are, and being independent and kind of making up our own rules, and always being a little left of the dial and not following mainstream. But the youth movement within our scene is picking up huge, and it's great. So like there's these torches being passed down, and kids are getting into basements again and writing music. It's great, and it's good.
Yes, we need it for sure. We need that next generation to step up and really, dust off the punk rock.
Well, they are, like a lot of there's always going to be that kid in the back of the room who, isn't into what's being pushed down in mainstream, music or what have you. And that's how scenes are built. What is it going to ultimately sound like in the end? Who knows, right? That's up for the kids. Whatever they're going to be, they have their pulse on this stuff where, when we were in our teens and our 20s and stuff like that, the music spoke to us, and it's not going to anymore. right? With a lot of these young bands, they just get older and stuff. But I mean, these kids have the same spirit. It's great. They're getting in the van and touring. They're doing everything right. It's good to see.
Yeah, and hopefully, some of those bands that are on, the stage in the early part of the day will be the main stage in years to come for sure, because that's the culture cultivated at Riot Fest.
Yeah.
For people who want tickets and to possibly hear of other bands that might drop here between now and the date, what's the best way for them to know about that information?
They can just go to riotfest.org. All the info is there. I think it's pretty concise and it's not confusing. So there's 3 days still left. A few left. I think they're almost sold out. 1 days and 2 days, and and the whole entire lineup.
Yeah, and I just gotta say, as a fan, I love the collabs that you guys do with either beer companies or you did something with an interview I just did at Horror House, the horror movie or the horror shop in Chicago. They did a couple Riot Fest t-shirts. I love that stuff, man. I think punk and horror movies in Chicago, it just is like this perfect mix. It's great.
It is.
Congratulations.
It really is. Thank you.
Yeah, 2005 and beyond. Here we are in 2020. Here's to many more years to come, and we'll check you guys out at Riot Fest in September, correct?
Correct. September 16 through 18.
At Douglas Park. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.